Steady. Hey team, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Christine, and today we are going to talk about hangry preschoolers. I myself, when I do not have enough food, become very, very hangry. We right now, well, in the last few weeks or so, we've been struggling with the same thing with our 3.5-year-old Hawk. He is great when he's got lots of fuel in his body, and throughout the day he will eat enough, but in the morning we're having a really hard time getting him to eat nutrient dense foods. So I am going to show you guys 4 new recipes that I'm going to, or ideas I guess, that I'm going to be trying out with him throughout the next week just to see if that helps. And maybe the emotions are just part of where he's at developmentally, but I honestly believe that a lot of it has to do with food and sleep, and we've kind of got the sleep thing under control, so we're going to tweak the food a little bit and see if that is going to help. The 4 things that I'm going to walk you through are potatoes, nutrient dense pancakes, zucchini muffins, and lastly, overnight oats. So let me show you what I've got going on in the kitchen, and then we'll see you again soon. Up first on the list, we have some steamed potatoes, which I'll then keep in the fridge, and then we will air fry these up before we eat them. Then we're going to use this pancake mix to make some waffles and then freeze those waffles. So I've actually had this in the pantry for quite some time. We need a few more ingredients than your typical pancakes need, but I like the idea of it, and I like that because of what you add, they will be slightly more nutritious than your typical waffles would be. All right, let's give this a go. I am not the waffle connoisseur in the house. Jen is the waffle person, and as you can see, I totally overpoured. But in the end, I ended up kind of sort of getting the hang of it. I ended up cutting these waffles into half with a pizza cutter for Hawk because with how dense they are, I think he's actually only going to need half a waffle at a time, and then we'll add an egg to it or something like that, just to beef up his breakfast a little bit more. All right, and the inspiration for this next breakfast idea is actually coming from my CSA box. We get one of these delivered every other week, and honestly, I do not know if it is worth it or not, but it forces us to eat fruits and vegetables, and that is a good thing at the end of the day. Look at the size of these bananas. They're huge. What am I even going to do with those? Anyway, the actual inspiration, like I said, is going to be these guys, zucchinis, and we're going to make some zucchini muffins. So let's get to it. First up, we've got coconut oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil if you want, but I prefer coconut oil, so that's what we are going with today. It is 1/3 of a cup of melted coconut oil. Then you need 2 eggs, so we're just going to crack those and give them a quick little beating and then mix them in with the coconut oil. Then is a 1/2 cup of maple syrup or honey, you can choose. Then 2/3 of a cup of buttermilk. Then it is some vanilla, which I ran out, so I just dumped in what I had left. And at this point, I could feel that when I was mixing, the coconut oil was starting to get stuck to the bottom of the bowl. So I probably should have paused there and warmed up that mixture a little bit in order to release that coconut oil, but I didn't. Then for our dry ingredients, we have 1 3/4 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of fine sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, and my son's favorite, cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Then we're just going to mix it all up here, and at this point I could still feel that the coconut oil was a little bit stuck, but I just kept mixing anyway. Are you supposed to add the wet ingredients to the dry or the dry to the wet? I don't know. Star of the show going in here, this is the zucchini. I actually had more zucchini than I needed. I only needed 1.5 cups, and this might not work out because I put too much in. Let's find out though. All right, I've got my muffin tin ready here. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a quick grease. I don't think I need to, but I've got this leftover butter from the pancakes. So I'm just gonna grease it up Anyhow, now this recipe actually was to make zucchini bread. However, the website also explained how to turn the zucchini bread into zucchini muffins. So that is the recipe that I'm following. Aside from the fact that I added in too much zucchini. And I also didn't squeeze it out because one recipe I read, it said to squeeze the zucchini out, and then another one didn't. So I didn't. And as you can see, I still have a lot of batter left. So I am going to make a few more muffins. And I think I was able to get a total of 5 more muffins, which again, my ratio of wet ingredients to dry ingredients is probably off. Oh well. I'm not a baker. I'm just not. Also, I think you're supposed to fill the extra things with water, so that's what I did. Are you supposed to do that? Baking people? I don't know. Tell me. Also, baking people, tell me what happened with these muffins. They looked glorious and then they totally sunk down. Also, seriously burnt on the outside. Did I have too many muffins in there? Did I have them too low in the oven? Some of them actually turned out fine. Other ones did not. All right, moving on. Last one is overnight oats. I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup of oats, and these are just your typical organic quick oats, nothing fancy at all. My son's favorite, cinnamon, not measuring it, just kind of tossing it in here. Next up are medjool dates. We picked these up from Costco recently, and the reason that I actually wanted them was to dip them in peanut butter just as a snack for Hawk. But I'm going to toss them into the overnight oats because I think that they will add a nice little bit of sweetness, plus kind of mix up the texture a bit as well. So I'm just going to chop up half of a date here, and that should be enough to do it. I could probably do the full thing, but we're just going to start with half and see how he likes it. Then I'm going to add some cacao powder just for an additional bit of sweetness. My kid is an absolute sugar monster. And I don't know how much this is, maybe like 1/4 teaspoon. We'll just start with that and see how he likes it. If we need it sweeter, then I'll add a little bit more for the next round. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the lid on that. I don't want to add the milk to it just yet. I'm going to do it at night, and I'm actually going to pour the milk into a separate little container. We're going to use this Susie's oat beverage, and the reason I'm pouring it into a separate container is to get Hawk more involved. So the night before, I'll have him pour it into the oat mixture and should be good to go. All right, hopefully you found that video helpful. Sorry for the sunglasses, by the way. I can maybe try to take them off. It's really bright out today, which I am loving. Welcome spring, I hope anyways. It was like -10 yesterday. But fingers crossed that we're through that. Anyway, hopefully you found that helpful. If you try any of these things out with your preschooler, please let me know in the comments below. And if you have any other tips or tricks or ideas that you have found to be really helpful, then let me know about those too. Thanks so much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.